Thank you, Caherly, and I'd like to welcome the Minister to the House and like to pay tribute to my colleagues, Senator O'Brien and Senator Lowross and Muraku, and indeed to the families of the relatives of 1916 who have been pursuing this issue for a decade and more, and also to the members of the Fianna Fáil Party in Dublin City Council, Paul McAuliffe and Sean High and others, Daly DeRocha, who have been pursuing this at council level. And before we get into the meat of the issue, I'd like to thank the Minister for his involvement in the all-party consultation group in the Decade of Commemorations. I think the programme that has been produced, while we disagree on details and significant details in the case of Moore Street, the programme is quite comprehensive. I think it's something that people have been looking for a long time, and I welcome the recent publication and announcement before Easter, and to the Chairman of the Committee, the Minister for Arts, Heritage and the Gaeltacht, Heather Humphreys, who is doing an excellent job around the country. I've been at some of the meetings where she's promoting and asking communities to get involved in 1916, and John Concannon, who has been working tirelessly on the various projects. But what we are doing in 2016 is we are celebrating those ordinary yet extraordinary men and women who did an extraordinary thing on an ordinary day. They took on the biggest empire the world had ever seen, and they ultimately dealt it a fatal blow that eventually saw its falling. And what we are also celebrating is we're celebrating the aims of the proclamation, the equal rights, the equal opportunities, the civil and religious liberties that we spoke about 99 years ago. And we are celebrating how far we have come, and we are also contemplating how far we have yet to go. As a nation, we are poor when it comes to celebrations. The Leader of the House on this side has spoken about Kilmainham Jail. Kilmainham Jail was to be demolished. That was the proposal of Dublin City Corporation. It was in rack and ruin, the roof had fallen in, and only for volunteers, the predecessors of the people in the gallery, only for people who had got together and decided that that should not be the case. Kilmainham Jail, quite literally today, could be a block of flats. And Moore Street could be in the same situation if it wasn't for people, citizens, getting involved. The GPO, to give my own experience in relation to that interpretive centre, which we are told by An Post will be ready for Easter 2016, the initial proposal from that 4 years ago was that there would be a foundation stone laid in Easter 2016, not an interpretive centre opened. And I went and met with the Smithsonian in Washington, D.C., and they wrote a 4-page brief on what needed to be done and the timeline required in order to get that ready for 2016. The reply from An Post was, what would the Smithsonian know about museums? I'm glad to see that the government have decided not to go with An Post on that one, but that it will be ready as a tribute. 100 years on, it is still a post office. You walk in there today, you would not know the most significant event in this country's history took place inside in that building. That is a travesty, and it is, I suppose, a condemnation of previous government. But Moore Street, in similar fashion, initially it was just going to be 16 Moore Street. And eventually, and we pay tribute to Dick Roche, who was the Minister, he made it a national monument, and he added 17, 15 and 14 Moore Street. We're talking today about developing a battlefield site. It is, as has been said, our Alamo, in that it is the last stand in 1916. But others have talked about redevelopments gone wrong. And yes, there are governance issues in other development vehicles, but people are looking at Temple Bar as if it was a disaster. There were issues, but Temple Bar was due to be turned into Bossaros and levelled. And previous generations have made a decision not to do that, and I think we're quite happy that it is there today, and that it is a great tourist attraction. It's not perfect, but nothing ever is. Ballymun redevelopment was an excellent redevelopment. Grange Garment. There are redevelopment vehicles. This is just a vehicle in which we can ensure that future generations will enjoy what people enjoy today when they go out to Kilmainham Jail. So when you walk out of the GPO Interpretive Centre, the ideal situation would be that you would progress up Moore Street and go to Parnell Square and end up at the new redevelopment there, along with visiting the Garden of Remembrance. I think we're disagreeing on the bill, and I think that's unfortunate. But we must remember that the history of previous developments, like Kilmainham Jail, was citizens, like those in the public gallery, taking action upon themselves when the politicians fail. Like the GPO, 100 years on, will be developed, but only because people decided to act and say, well, you know, a foundation stone on the 100th anniversary isn't enough. And Moore Street has come a long way from a situation where it could well have been knocked to a proposal for 16 to be preserved, then a national monument. Now we are arguing and disagreeing and losing this particular battle, but I think the leaders of 1916 would agree with me when I say we might lose the battle, but we will win the war. Thank you, Cahill.
Thank you, Senator Daly. Senator